iNCA Freedom Party is calling on KZN Education KwaZulu to hand over a detailed plan for the prevention of COVID-19 amongst pupils. This follows concerns over the rise in COVID-19 infections in primary and high schools in KwaZulu-Natal. So we're going to be getting an update now from IFP KZN Education spokesperson Thembeni Madlopha-Mthethwa. Thembeni, thank you so much for your time this evening. Talk to us a little bit about how dire the COVID-19 situation is amongst young people, particularly those that are in a school in KZN.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to say something about the problems that we're having in KZN. When the school reopens after the winter holidays, we have seen that most learners from grade R to grade 7, they come back to school, and also in the high school they are still back. But when we look at the preparation that were done, especially in KZN, nothing really was done. The learners were brought back to school, but there was no increment of screeners, no increment of classrooms. There was still a shortage of water almost in most schools, about 70% of schools in KwaZulu-Natal. And there were no sanitation programs in place in KwaZulu-Natal. And then due to that, we have seen numbers of learners who are affected increasing rapidly in the whole province. And we do not see a program that is convincing that the KwaZulu-Natal KZN is hands-on in making sure that our learners at schools are safe. You know, we have seen, because we have been crying all over to plea for teachers to be vaccinated. Yeah. But the teachers are now vaccinated, but learners are still not vaccinated. And some learners, they go to school without mask. And this is a concern for almost the parents, the teachers, the communities, and the teacher unions.
David, I want to just get onto the point of the schools that have been affected. Exactly how many schools have had to temporarily close down because of these COVID-19 infections? Do you guys have the numbers as yet?
We do have numbers, although I can't say directly, but there are more than 10 schools that have been closed. Except that over and above that, there are schools that are not reported with the COVID infection, because teachers, they are afraid to come up and report these things. And even learners, when they are affected, they go back to their homes. And some principals in school, they say they are not allowed to come up and bold and speak about these things. Teachers, they go to school knowing that schools are not sanitized, they are not cleaned, but they do go back to schools. And then they infect one another.
Yeah. So, Thembeni, are you saying that at this point, that the KZN Department of Basic Education does not have a plan to mitigate against the spread of COVID-19 amongst learners in schools? They don't have a plan?
Yeah. No. They don't have a tangible, credible plan. I'm just saying that, I'm bold to say that, because when you go to school, people were promised that there will be plans for mobile classroom. They're not there. Schools are still overcrowded, as was speaking. When the learners some were coming on Monday, the other one coming on Tuesday, then they come back together. But there were no plans to say. They say a class is having 30 learners. Then when they come back, the class is now multiplied. They are now against the COVID regulations. If you go to a class, we're supposed to have a class with a minimum of 21 learners, but now we have classes with 40 learners in the same classroom. And then learners will move around. They take masks from one another. There's no, if you have, after 2 hours, we need to re-sanitize in a room, but there's nothing happening like that in our schools.
We'll leave it there. Thembeni Madlopha-Mthethwa, the IFP KZN Education spokesperson, giving us some details in terms of exactly what the reality is like in some of the schools who are failing to mitigate against the spread of COVID-19.